Hi guys, welcome back, and this time around I'm bringing you the NFACOUS NA20. This is the brother to the NM20, which was released a couple of months ago. The NM20 is a monitor or more monitor focused tuning, while the NA is a more audiophile focused tuning. Anyway, when I show you the graphs, you'll understand exactly what I mean. The box is the usual NFACOUS affair. They really do know how to, let's say, present their product. Let me just open this up here and quickly just show you what's inside of it. Okay, there we go. So IEMs came over there. Underneath this, you take it out, there's the tips, which are actually not bad. The tips actually are alright. Underneath that as well, oh my god, doesn't this want to come out? It's giving me some fight, eh? Alright, underneath that we have this adapter for 6.35mm. Oops, that was off. Anyway, we've got the tips. They're not bad tips. They actually work pretty decently, and that's why I'm actually still using the supplied tips with the NA20. Although I did try some of the tips. On this side, we've got some information, some little booklet with some information, and the case was over there. And that's basically it. Nothing really much more to say about it. Let me just quickly show you the case. So this is the case that NA20 brings. Nice enough case, sufficient to fit the IM with its stock cable. Not so much with the cable that I'm now using, but it is what it is. This is the stock cable. I'm not gonna say that it's a bad cable, because look, it doesn't tangle, it's fine, it's just the termination here that on the IM side that I would have liked to have nicer termination. And since it's now become the norm for most of these cables to be the termination being exchangeable, or being possible to swap around from 3.5 to 4.4, it would have been nice. I mean, this is an IM that costs just over $100, and at that value, it's normal to expect certain let's say certain luxuries. Anyway, I'm not using the stock cable. The reason why I'm not using the stock cable, you'll see now in a second, it's because, much like on the NM20, where I chose this nice cable here from IVipQ to match with the blue turquoise color of the driver, of the shell, sorry, I decided to also go for this nice cable here from IVipQ to again match the brown gold presentation of the shell. The shell it's a resin shell. Inside they have a single DD. Obviously, it's a driver that has suffered a number of improvements over the years. My apologies. And this is the latest version of that driver. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh my, what a blank I had here now. Anyway, when it comes to me, I'll let you know. What more can I say? That's basically it. I mean, it's got a nice shape to it, fits nicely. I have no issues. I'm using the stock tips, like I said. So let's just jump into what matters, which is how does it sound compared to the NM20. As I mentioned, the NM20 was tailored, or is tailored, much like the products from NFACOUS, or tailored for usages in stage, or on or monitoring on a studio and so on. And what ends up happening due to that is that the style of tuning then in the upper mids and treble reflects to a certain extent that usage. Contrary to the previous models, which also supported the NA and NM nomenclature, which was the NA2 and the NM2, they were metal shelled. The new NA and NM series sport a substantially more pronounced bass. The difference that exists is basically, like I said, the energy level that we encounter in the upper mids and treble, where the NM, the blue one here, is a little bit more lively, and that liveliness is then obviously noticeable when you're listening to music. I'm assuming and guessing that if you use this on a stage scenario, you will welcome that extra energy. But if you're going to listen to music, then yes, then that can be a little bit of a handicap depending on the genres and on the volume that you will ultimately be using. To that extent, the NA20 has obviously been slightly, let's say, tamed in that department of the upper mids and treble, making it obviously more suited for musical or for music reproduction or for music usage. My units there, my NA also has a slight more amount of bass, under or below 100 hertz as compared to my NM, but the difference we're talking about is about a dB and a half of difference. So I'm not going to say that there is an actual difference there in the tuning, but rather that it was just these units. The difference that does exist then is in the way that the upper mids and in treble is presented in one and in the other. The peak still stays at around 8K. The extension past 10K on the NA is also slightly more tamed down, but it's the main area or the main focus of the in the difference of the tuning is in that 2K to 5.5, 6K, where this being more laid back makes it for a less forward presentation when you're listening to music. But again, it's like I said earlier, this has a specific usage that is intended for it, while this has a different usage. So when you take those two matters into account, then you can't really say one is tuned incorrectly or one is, no, because I'm probably the NA20, if I was to use it in a in a studio application or in a live stage application, I would probably find stages, or I would find times that it was lacking a little bit of energy in that upper mids and treble, while that wouldn't happen here, and vice versa. So this is better suited for music. This is better suited for stage usage. As for the sound, it's got the NFACOUS sound. And what is the NFACOUS sound? The NFACOUS sound is about it being fun, engaging, entertaining. The high quality driver that it uses helps make things come all together in a controlled manner, especially in the bass, where this energy that it has of bass could perhaps be a problem if it was not such a high quality driver. I mean, after all, we are talking about a bass gain of roughly 12 dBs. So with this much bass energy, if the driver wasn't a truly capable driver, then it would smother the mids, it would completely camouflage the mids. And when I listened to the NA20, one IEM in particular came to mind, which was the Earacoustics Silver Angel, the SPA Pro Max, and also the SPA High End. Those two IEMs came very much to mind. They all have the same sort of vibe in terms of sound. Obviously, the Pro Max is a little bit more expensive than this. It's $219. This is roughly $119, if I'm not mistaken. So it's $100 more expensive. While the high end is at 149, so it's just slightly above the NA's prices. But for you guys to understand what type of sound this has, it has a sound very much like those two earphones from Earacoustics. So great bass, well executed, it's clean, it's detailed, it's dynamic, it doesn't get muffled or get hindered by any complex tracks. It's able to resolve nicely the complexity of any bass that it's presented with. The mids and the transition from the bass into the mids, it's, in my opinion, very well done. Okay, ultimately, if you are looking for the ultimate cleanliness, maybe the monitor here will help out because of that extra amount of energy that it has. But in terms of an audiophile, of a pure music listening experience, it didn't bother me that at times it could have been just a little bit cleaner, but it didn't bother me because the driver is a high quality driver. Mids are very well presented in my opinion. The pinna gain peaks at around 3k, then it's got a small gain peaking about 5, and then it drops off. That peak at 5, it's not really noticeable because of all that bass energy we have from behind, which kind of helps mitigate and keep it under control. So it hasn't got that Harman style of tuning, which has become the mainstream for many brands and for many models of IEMs over the last 2 years, I would say. No, it's got a very kind of old school approach to the tuning, where you have this very much peaky kind of presentation in the mids, upper mids, and treble. Well, more upper mids and treble really, but it all comes together nicely, and it all sounds really nice. That's the reality. It sounds very nice. Treble, again, decently executed. I didn't really find any maybe 1 or 2 songs. It was a little bit more overly intense, but nothing. While on the NM20, I did find a few songs that were a little bit overly intense, and it could be just a little bit too much at times. Like, let's see, let me just give you an example of one such song. The St. James Infirmary by Stimulators, or Aphrodite by Fred Mann, or Jack of Speed by Steely Dan. If you listen to it on the NM at lower volumes, yeah, okay, it's fine. But on the NA, you can really crank it up, and it's fantastic. Especially St. James Infirmary, it really plays it well. There isn't any part of that song that I could say, oh no, it's becoming too much. I used, again, for this review, I used a TP35 Pro and the TP50 for almost the entirety of the listening. I did use the Fire occasionally, my Q15, and I also did use the Yuki and my NX7 like I like using. But the majority of the listening was done with the 2 EPZ, the TP35 Pro and the TP50, and I would say that those two are probably a Cyrus Logic DAC, Dongle, DAP will probably be the better choice for these IEMs. And that's very much it. I mean, guys, there's really not much more than I can say. That's basically it in a nutshell. I'll show you quickly another graph, and we'll wrap it up. Okay, guys, here's the graph now for the NA20 and the NM20. The NM20 is the blue line that you can see above, while the NA, sorry, is the brown line. I think it's self-explanatory. It doesn't really need me to give too much explanation. It's got a nice big thick bass, the corresponding point there of 100 hertz. If on the NM you still have quite a bit of energy above it, on the NA20 things are way more controlled. That peak there at 5 is very much mitigated by all this energy you have here on the mid bass. Vocals are in my opinion, very well done, very organic. It's got a very nice timbre and a very nice tonality associated with it. Which let me just take away quickly the NM. Which when I put, for example, the SPA Pro Max, which I was just mentioning a couple of minutes ago, you can see exactly what I mean. It's got a very much the SPA Pro kind of signature and sound, and it very, very, very similar, very, very similar. And that's that, guys. There's really not much more that I can say. I mean, another nice IM from NFACOUS. I would like to see more stuff from them. Just not just single DDs. I'd like to see what they have to offer in terms of hybrids, if they do decide to do that. And that's that. All right. As always, like and subscribe. Any questions, please feel free to ask me. Take care now. Bye bye.